Are we in a bear market, or is this a golden buy opportunity on both Bitcoin but also for the American stock market? Those questions will be answered in today's video. Let's first start off with my beloved Bitcoin. We can see that Bitcoin is currently down around 30% from the previous all-time high that was formed around $110,000. Guys, we can see that Bitcoin is close to retesting the range high of the previous reaccumulation range. Now, a lot of people are getting extremely bearish right now. I don't see a lot of reason to get extremely bearish. First off, because simply looking at this from a range perspective, we can see that there's two bullish scenarios possible, and as long as we are trading around that range high area, we should be looking for longs rather than shorts, because this is not a deviation. This is way too big of a breakout to call this a deviation. Okay, so I'm looking for a potential bullish retest on Bitcoin. Now there's two bullish scenarios that you can be trading, but I'm definitely looking for buy opportunities on Bitcoin right here, and I do think long term this is a golden buy opportunity. What we can see is the first scenario, that this low turns out to be an inducement. We are currently sweeping that low, we are retesting that range high area, and we could be looking for potential longs on the price of Bitcoin and potential buy opportunities on the price of Bitcoin right over here already, and Bitcoin could be looking and seeking for a reversal. If Bitcoin is going to hold over here, I'm expecting an aggressive reversal back towards new all-time highs relatively soon. Now the second scenario is that we are looking at one of my range breakout models, in which I'm looking for a bit of an aggressive sweep back into the range, which would mean that we are sweeping some internal liquidity back into the range, which is resting beneath the low over here, followed by a reclaim afterwards. Now in this case, I'm looking for something like this, in which I'm looking for a reclaim of the range high. Once we reclaim the range high, up on a push over here after taking that internal liquidity beneath the low over here, then I will be looking for major swing longs on Bitcoin right over here with my stop loss beneath that local low, and then I'm targeting new all-time highs for the price of Bitcoin as well for a beautiful RR of 3.5. So those are my two higher time frame bullish scenarios for Bitcoin. Either we are going to form a local low over here, we might get a bit of a sweep into that range high and then reverse from here, or, and this is the most bearish scenario in my opinion, we are going to go indeed for this internal liquidity low over here with an aggressive flush, followed by a reclaim of the range high. Then this is your trigger to start looking for swing longs on Bitcoin, targeting new all-time highs. Now I'll also give you guys a quick intraday potential trading idea on Bitcoin as well on the 5-minute chart, because what we can see is that Bitcoin is currently bouncing a little bit already, and I'm looking for a potential strong low to be formed in between our 12 over here and in between our 14. Now if Bitcoin is going to form a strong low in between our 12 and in between our 14, I'm looking for potential longs targeting new higher levels. So I'm looking for a strong low, followed by a break of structure back towards the upside, and then I need a new high after our 15 has started. If we get a scenario like this, I'm looking for longs over here on Bitcoin, and I'm looking for a complete retrace of this weekend dump right over here for a beautiful RR of approximately 4. Now a second intraday scenario is the Bitcoin is not gonna sweep this local low right over here, but instead it's going to front run that low and just sweep some internal liquidity beneath the low, for example over here, or beneath the low over here, and at the same time form an SMT with Ethereum. So Bitcoin is in that case going to form a higher low and Ethereum is going to form a lower low. Now this is a scenario that I'm also potentially watching on the price of Bitcoin. Once again, I need the timing confirmation, which means that I need the New York session to make a new session high after our 15 UTC time has started. Whoops, you don't want your portfolio to drop like that, so make sure to like and subscribe, and let's keep things steady. Then I will also long Bitcoin with my invalidation beneath that strong session low, and then targeting a retrace of that entire weekend dump. Now higher time frame wise, obviously, once we are going to retrace that entire weekend dump, we can also target a potential expansion towards higher targets, because as I just explained to you guys, a potential local bottom might be formed over here on Bitcoin up on the sweep of this local low over here, targeting new all-time highs, and in that case we could extend our RR towards a massive trade of approximately 20 RR. When we look at the Nasdaq chart a few weeks ago, guys, and I'm going to ask you guys this question: where would you want to buy if you're looking at the weekly chart like this? My answer to this question is extremely simple. I would want to buy beneath the major liquidity that is resting beneath this low and also the major liquidity that is resting beneath this low. I think that these are two major swing points that are containing a lot of liquidity, and also at the same time beneath those lows we have this previous all-time high area on Nasdaq. So when I now play the chart and we can see that the chart is currently taking out those two lows and retesting that previous all-time high area, and you're telling me that you are now too afraid to buy, what does that mean? It means that your emotions are getting the better of you. It means that you are not sticking to your plan, but you're letting current sentiment, current fear, current uncertainty and current doubts influence your decision making on the markets. May I be wrong and may we go lower from here? Yes, I may be. But I'm not looking for a day trade here. I'm talking about long-term investments. This is no financial advice, but these are levels that 2 months ago everyone was dreaming about. And now that we are hitting those levels and sentiment is tumbling down and fear is entering the markets, you're too afraid to buy. So what do you think that happens next? Or let me ask you this question. What do you think has a higher probability of happening? An even bigger dump from this level after taking out this liquidity, or a potential higher time frame reversal? I think that the probabilities are in favor for a potential bottom to form over here. Once again, may I be wrong? Yes, but I'm simply playing the odds here and I'm simply trusting my plan on the Nasdaq. And my plan 2 months ago was that if we were going to sweep this liquidity into the previous all-time high level, I would consider this as a major gift. So what am I doing? I'm buying long-term investments here, not only on Nasdaq, but also on crypto. And I do think that chart-wise, this is a gift. And I do think that long-term, we won't see much lower price. And if we do, I will continue to buy some more. But I do think that this is a major opportunity, guys. And looking at the Nasdaq chart, I do think that this entire dump that we got after the Trump tariffs hit over here is gonna get retraced at some point, because my system is simply telling me never ever to trust news-driven market pumps or dumps. Currently we're seeing a news-driven dump, and I do think that this entire dump that took place after the Trump tariffs hit is gonna get retraced. Is it gonna be this week? Is it gonna be next week? Is it gonna be the week after? I truly don't know. I just trust my system and I trust my judgment and I trust my analysis. It's hitting a major level on the weekly. It is hitting a major level on the monthly. And we are seeing a news-driven dump over here. I think that this is a recipe to look for potential investments and also to look for potential longs. Now, potential longs, in my opinion, could be a potential market structure break over here and also at the same time a displacement above this gap. I do think that if the Nasdaq is going to give us a push like this today, that you could be playing the retest over here, targeting a complete retrace of that news-driven dump over here. Now this is a long that I am willing to take on the Nasdaq if it gives me a trigger over here with my invalidation beneath the local low, targeting a complete retrace of that news-driven dump. Am I going to be right? Am I going to be wrong? I truly don't know, guys. All that I know is that I always trust my judgment, is that I always trust my technical analysis, and I'm trying to decipher what kind of story, what kind of mystery the charts are trying to tell us. Now, also looking at current sentiment, I do think that these are definitely levels where we prefer to look for buy positions over short positions. Long term, once again, no financial advice, these are no-brainer buy levels to me.